Greetings and hello, I am Kaiser Louisville V, and there's an old saying, this is why we can't have nice things. And you know what? This is why we can't have nice things. Dylan Stormroof is why we can't have nice things. Okay? This guy is the reason we can't have nice things. Oh my god. And there's so many things. It's not even just... I don't think anybody really cares at this point that he walked into a church and killed 9 people. I really don't. Because now when everyone's talking, no one's talking about the victims. I don't even know their names. No one's talking about that. Everyone's talking about now the political ramifications, and now all the white supremacists have come out of the woodwork, all the black supremacists have come out of the woodwork, all the conservatives and the liberals have come out of the woodwork, and it's just chaos. It is absolute madness and chaos. And I, being a traditional conservative, get to deal with the usual run-of-the-mill fascist and Natsocks and the Nazis, the Nazis who show up and just trample all over our shit, waving our symbols, talking about our guys like they're theirs, and, saying they have the solution to this problem. And it is so endlessly aggravating trying to spread a message that has been a method that has been time, true, and tested, in the fires of basically hell, in terms of just the stuff that, the things these ideas have weathered. It's so difficult, to try and share with these people when they see my stuff, and because these other people use it, they instantly associate it with fascism. And it's so nerve-wrackingly furious, okay? Like, I don't know how or why people think when they walk in my room that the Quaternion Eagle is a Nazi symbol. Like, I don't know why they think that. It's just... it's so aggravating. It's so infuriating and frustrating to watch. I'm not even going to talk really about Dylan Stormroof in this video. I'm really not, because that's not what got me to make this. What got me to make this video is, once again, more websites and forums that were once havens for traditional conservatism are taken over by fascism and Nazism and all these modernist right-wing ideologies. And Dylan Stormroof has really brought these people out of the fucking woodwork. This guy is touting the party line of these groups. He's touting the party line of these pages, okay? They want to say, oh, we had nothing to do with him. Yes, you do have something to do with him. Ideas have consequences. Ideas influence people. Ideas motivate people. Your ideas created Dylan Stormroof. Dylan Stormroof was not born in a vacuum. He had no local interaction with any supremacy groups. None. You know where he got his stuff? The internet. This thing, this computer that you're watching this from, this phone, the internet, that's where he got his ideas from. That's where it comes from. He's a self-made domestic terrorist. Just like lots of Islamic terrorists, he's a self-made guy. He has no connections to any mainstream groups. He's utterly, completely self-made. And the people who spread the shit that inspires him, you are the one to blame. You are the guy to blame. You've made this message possible. You've been a useful fucking dupe. You've been a useful fucking dupe for, League of the South and other groups, to gain popularity and to gain fame and to gain press, okay? You are the reason why, alright? I've said before that Democrats in 2008 are responsible for the resurgence of racism in America in mainstream politics, okay? I've said they were responsible for it. But you know what? You guys are responsible for it, because you played straight into their fucking game. You've done it. Ultimately, if you look at it, liberalism will unite people. It will make this hideous amalgamation of people with very simple ideas and a clear enemy. Conservatism at this point is racial. It will divide people. It will scatter them. It will make them leaderless. It will make them bigger. It will make them fight, and it will be destroyed. Fascism and Nazism are a big reason for this. Traditional conservatism will never get off the ground. It will never go anywhere if fascism and Nazism are continued to allowed to run rampant in these groups and in these forms. If racialism is continually allowed in these groups, okay, it will never stop. It will never stop. Okay? You cannot give these people purchase. You can't give them a microphone. All you can do is suppress them. Okay? Francis I of Austria didn't give nationalists a microphone. He didn't give them freedom of press. He didn't give them the ability to share their ideas. No, he shut them down, burned their books, and threw them in prison or killed them. He had an entire counterintelligence group entire arm of his government is counterintelligence designed to counter these people. Okay, he didn't put up with their bullshit. That's our mistake. We're putting up with the bullshit. Now, a lot of people recently have said, talking about the Confederate flag things, that, oh, the Confederate flag is racist, but, other flags are not racist. It's fine to insult the Confederate flag, but it's fine to insult the Confederate flag. It's not okay to have the Confederate flag. Well, no, it's okay to insult. Like, the Confederate flag is. I'm trying to figure out a way to word it, basically. Like, I don't support the Confederacy at all. I don't. But they put out, noteworthy hypocrisies, which is that, it's, the Confederate flag is somehow bad, but, like, Muslims flying flags at their mosques and other things and all these other hate groups, they're allowed to keep their stuff, but, Confederates aren't. Well, I don't think you should be allowed to have them either, okay? Are you happy, dumb shit? I think you and them should be put on the same wall and shot. Alright? Because my thing with the Confederacy is I hate the Confederacy. I despise it with every core of my being. I used to be for the Confederacy, and that's why I hate it so much now. Because I realized something. If the South had never seceded, we would not be the poorest states in the goddamn Union right now. You betrayed and seceded from one of the most growing and powerful nations at that time. What the fuck did you think was gonna happen, stupid? You think oh yeah, that's cool. Y'all go off, do your own thing. Yeah, you guys just, oh yeah, take our guns, take our equipment, yeah. No! They're gonna burn your shit to the fucking ground and pound you into the dirt. That's what they're gonna do. And they did it. They did it. Wow, what a shock. Treason has consequences. If you betray a nation over politics, if you betray your country over politics, you don't get to bitch about what comes after it. You grin and you bear it like a fucking man, or you stop bitching about it. Okay? War is a messy business. Collateral damage happens. Sometimes, most of the time, it's not intended. But it does. I'm so sick of listening to Southerners talk about how the North burned Georgia to the ground and all this other fucking bullshit, implying that Washington, D.C. would not have been fucking raised if the Army of North Virginia made it across the Potomac. Okay? Implying that would not have happened. Implying Abraham Lincoln would have not been hung and burned. Implying that, the Senate would not have been mass fucking executed. You people are implying that the Confederates would have done so much better if they had made it to these centers of the North's, cultural affluence and industrial affluence. No, they wouldn't have been any better. But it's pointless talking about it because they never could have gotten there. They had no industry. They had no international support. They had nothing. They barely had fucking railroads. Barely. We were moving our shit on river rafts and horse and carts when the North had steamboats and trains. The defeat of the South was foretold by so many influential Americans who were alive at the time of the Civil War. Okay, Sam Houston. Okay, Sam Houston for one. He said it straight up to these people. He said straight up to Texas, don't join the Confederacy. They're about to get their shit shoved in. Don't help them. Look out for Texas. We have the ability to ignore this and watch it happen. Let's just do that. We will come out better for it. Okay? And you know what? Nobody fucking listened. So many others like him were not listened to because they were Southerners who told the South, you are about to make the biggest mistake of your recent history. Don't do it. This is not worth splitting the Union over. And it wasn't. Because Abraham Lincoln was killed by the same kind of bitter assholes that started the war, John Wilkes Booth, because he was killed by the same bitter assholes who started the war, the South was not reconstructed, it was raped and plundered by northern economies. We have industry down here, yeah, but it's still owned by companies that are not based here. None of our industry is locally owned, okay? We don't see any of the economic benefits that come from this. It goes to somewhere else. It goes somewhere else. It's all exports. It doesn't help us at all. If the South had never seceded, if they just allowed industrialization to take place, if they had allowed, if plantation owners had been like, well, gee whiz, these machines really can make more money than Negroes. oh, well, we can get rid of them. No, they can go off and do it their own thing. I'm using a racial slur because I'm trying to mimic them pretty much. They could have been like, no, they can go off and do what they want to do. Hey, maybe I should hire them. Maybe I should train them to use these here newfangled machines. Yes, yes, that'll make us lots of money. But no, they wanted to keep an outdated system that the North was proving was outdated for the sheer single fact of arrogance, pride. Because the South had built up an aristocracy around the plantations and the slave owners. An aristocracy of what? I don't know. I mean, people have compared the Confederacy to, their aristocracy to European aristocracy. They're not similar at all. They don't own the military. They don't contribute to the community. They don't do anything. They contribute to their own wealth. White sharecroppers were in just as bad of a situation in some situations as African Americans who lived on some of the better plantations. I mean, that's how bad it was. And you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, poor whites in the South? Well, where did they come in? They were the guys that were sent off to die, on the behalf of their plantation owners, and they and their sons would have to go. That whole really romantic scene in Gone with the Wind, where all the plantation owners, them wealthy young guys, they go off to fight the war, that didn't fucking happen. Are you stupid? If it did, they became officers. They weren't in the trenches dying. That was what the stupid, poor white trash was for. And before you correct me on this, I was raised SCV. I learned this shit. I didn't learn it exactly like this, but I had access better than most people to first-hand sources, okay? Way better than most people, all right? And, it's just so rampant, and I can't believe I have to have this conversation in 2015. I can't believe I'm having to have it again. And it's just, it's that simple, really. And, and that's the reason racism was so prominent in the South, okay? Poor white sharecroppers did not, they looked down at slaves even, and they didn't want to be on the same level as slaves. That's where racism came from. I'm not justifying it. I'm explaining why it is the way it is. Why these people thought the way they did. They didn't want to be on the same level as slaves, so racism became a thing among the common folk because they didn't want to be on the same level as them, even though, economically, ding, 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 you're on the same level! It's a simple fact. It is simple fact. Okay? You can go to any non-biased history source and learn about this. People say blacks fought for the Confederacy. What the fuck else were they gonna do? Huh? What the fuck else were they gonna do? Please tell me, what the fuck else were they gonna do when their slave masters told them to go fight? No, I don't think I will. Bring me another Negro. That's exactly what would have happened. That's exactly what did happen. These people were cattle. I don't care how people say if, these slaves were not treated so badly. Tell you what, you go live the lifestyle of some of the slaves on the better plantations in the South, and not the ones up in Georgia, You live on some of the better ones, and you tell me which one you prefer. Do you prefer living in your nice home, free with economic mobility, or do you want to go be a slave and get treated marginally nicely? No. You want to go back to your nice house with your nice air conditioning and your freedom of mobility. That's what you want to do. The fact that this level of ignorance is... And the funny thing, the really sad thing, do you know why Confederate nostalgia exists? Money. In the 1950s, when the centennial of the American Civil War came around, the South went fucking apeshit for Confederacy stuff. And it just so happened to coincide with the Civil Rights Movement. And, the Confederate flag was all over the place like it never been before. It was everywhere. A lot of the Confederate flags in state flags are totally new, okay? They've only been there since the 50s, since the 20th century. They were removed after the end of the Civil War. They were changed back to their original designs or given new designs, okay? The Confederate flag was not in the original design. It wasn't. And, it's just one of those things I wish I didn't have to harp on, but I do, because some of you will never hear this. Some of you will choose never to hear this. I've been doing it for the last several days. I've been practically screaming at people, showing them everything I can, throwing it right in their faces. That the South, the Confederacy, was built on racial supremacy, okay? The cornerstone speech, Alexander Hamilton says that the Confederacy is based upon the superiority of the white race. He says that. That's a quote. Go look it up. Go read it. the section of the Confederate Constitution on slavery says there will never be a law passed that abolishes or restricts slavery. It will never happen. Never, ever, ever. So if you just happen to be a neo-Confederate, but in regards to America, you're a constitutionalist, guess what? By your own belief system, you have to follow your Constitution. You can never abolish slavery. Therefore, you support a system in which slavery of black people continues indefinitely until it either collapses on itself or you realize, industry's a lot more effective than manpower. It's mind-boggling, okay? And going back to blacks fighting for the South, many of them did it out of a misplaced belief that they would be given equality, they would be given equality in a post-Civil War South. Probably not. They probably would have been put back on the plantations, or those who did exist and were not, and those who did exist would continue to enslave black people. Newsflash, if a slave owner is black, he's still an asshole, okay? Slavery may not have been entirely racially based because there were black slave owners who supported the Confederacy because it continued their way of life. Guess what? They're assholes too, because they are continuing a system of enslavement, degradation, and cruelty. They're continuing that tradition. And all you people do is you keep supporting it. You keep supporting it. You keep acting like it means anything. You keep acting like this means something. It doesn't mean anything. The Confederate flag means nothing. The one people use today is not even the right Confederate flag. The original Confederates were so freaking stupid they couldn't figure out how to design a flag. The first flag was a white flag with the Northern Virginia battle flag, the one you use now probably, in the top corner. The problem is it was so small that I'm yelling myself hoarse at you people. The original flag was so small that this big white flag looked like a flag of truce. Well, they didn't want that, so they added this ugly red rectangle onto the end of it. That's the flag of the Confederacy. The flag people use today is a modernized version of a battle standard, which was the battle standard of one army of the Confederacy, which was the Army of Northern Virginia. Okay, it was not the Confederate flag. It was never the Confederate flag. It was never used as such until the 1950s. Okay, it was never used as a battle flag. It was never used as a state flag. It's never been a state flag. States who fly the damn thing are stupid. That's not the real flag. It's not the real flag. It's not the real flag. Fly the real one if you're going to fly it. Maybe when you see how freaking retarded it looks, you'll realize, with a flag that shitty, how on earth do you have a nation that's remotely anything worth preserving? It's just... Fascism I've harped on to the end. I'm not going to waste breath on that. I'm already yelling myself hoarse. I was supposed to be home 3 hours ago, but I put off my drive home because, I watched yet another group get taken over by these freaking idiots who think that, the South will rise again. Hitler was right. Mussolini did nothing wrong. Franco was a true Catholic leader. I just have to deal with these stupid people. And you know what the sad thing is? The sad thing ends up being, these people, that these guys are started by trolls on Reddit, just like social justice warriors. Your whole existence is a fucking joke by shit posters. You dig deep enough, just like with social justice warriors, the original origins of the resurgence in white supremacy on mainstream media comes from Reddit and 4chan, where trolls started posting this stuff, expecting people to be angry and overreact. But much to their surprise, people showed up who believed this stuff. Someone left the door open to the mental asylum, apparently, and let all the freaking inmates out. I don't know how else to tell you people this. I don't know how else to talk about this. Because the fact is, we cannot keep clinging to these failed ideologies, to these failed systems, and keep putting up with this. Okay? There's no reason to do it other than you're stupid. Or you're just, either you are willfully malicious, or you don't understand, or you don't know. Which is the case with me. I used to support the Confederacy. I didn't know the stuff I've just told you. I had to learn it for myself. Okay? And going back to the whole thing with the Confederacy and the Centennial, The South stays above water because of a tourist economy, because of tourism, because of freaking football. That's what and other things like that. That's what keep us above water. Okay? Just barely breathing. Just barely treading water. So we keep this whole Confederacy thing going, really, because we keep these museums open because people want to come see them. People from outside the country want to come see them. People from all over the country want to come see them. People who think they're descended from Robert E. Lee want to go see them. People who think they're descended from Stonewall Jackson want to go see them. People who think all this stupid stuff want to go see this stuff because they idolize this stuff. So we keep the myth going so our descendants will preserve the one thing that keeps our state economically viable. Because we're too stupid and lazy to try and start industry, start home-based industry, create a working economy, fix our legal system, fix our roads, make our air actually freaking breathable, stop putting real cancer into the soil and the water. It's easier for the politicians to just lay back, kick their feet up, and wait for the payments to come in so that they can keep doing all the stupid crap they do to our state so people can make money without that's it. It's not making money. That's it. It's making money. It costs more to make the South a normal, functioning part of the United States of America than it does to just let it be a shithole. And the best part is, we are 1/4 of this nation, and everyone here thinks they embody America. You don't embody America any more than a Californian, than a West Coaster. You don't embody America any more than a New Yorker or an East Coaster. You don't embody America any more than a Midwesterner. You don't embody America any more than a Southwesterner, an Alaskan, a Hawaiian. Because we're all Americans. Collectively, we make America. Okay? One part of the country is not America. You dipshits. Washington, D.C. is not America. Everything is supposed to be America. At least, if you want to have a republic, that's a republic or a democracy that's big as how it's got to be. I mean, you can always become a monarchy, but oh no, that also requires effort. That also requires, actual thought. It's easier to just keep the corrupt, bloated system we have now. And, it's that simple, really. I attack this because this is the one I've seen most prevalently recently, neo-Confederates now. And the thing is, you may be a Confederate supporter, you may not be a racist. You may be a black Confederacy supporter, and you may not be a racist. You may not believe in racism. You may just believe in states' rights and assorted other nonsense. You may just be a generic conservative. For a lot of Southerners, all that the rebel flag represents is rebellion. It's just the South is politically disenfranchised. It feels that way. The whole South can vote one way, and it doesn't matter. What matters is what the West Coast and other parts of the country do, because of how the electorate system is set up. The South can do whatever it wants, and we don't affect anything. So for a lot of Southerners, the rebel flag just represents being an outlier, being a rebel, being controversial, being edgy. Going against society's norms. That's all it represents to these people. That doesn't change what it means, but ultimately, that's what it's about. And and so if you just made the South better, if you just fixed its problems and created, if it was a normal, viable, working part of the country, and it was, it mattered in the grand political scheme of things like everywhere else does, the Confederate nostalgia would never be a thing. It would never have existed. It would have just been a part of history. It would have never been this grandiose thing we had to play up. It would have just been a part of our history, a part of history that we probably would regret, because it was a sad event in American history. But at the same time, it would just be a part of history. It wouldn't be this thing that we idolize. Southern nationalism is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because, I'm sorry, if the South secedes, I'm fucking leaving. And I'm doing anything I can to bring it back to fucking normal and civilizing this bitch. Because the mere thought of being surrounded by a country run by degenerate rednecks that talk like this, yeehaw, American football, baseball, sports and guns, woo! The mere thought of being in a country run by those people scares the living shit out of me. I just shit myself right now. That's how much it horrifies me. I feel myself running north at this point. My soul has left my body. I am bugging out, man. I am done. Deuces. And the same thing is, I really do love the South. I love the people have their moments. They're not all degenerate rednecks. I love the food. I love the, there are parts about it that I do love. But I am so ashamed of it at the same time. I'm so ashamed to be from the South because of how you people act and how you behave and the stupid shit they do and say. We are a meme. The South is a joke to the rest of the world. I don't like being a joke. I don't know about you. I don't like being a joke. Okay? I don't like being the butt of anyone's joke unless I'm in on it. I don't like being a joke. I'm not in on this joke. Okay? You know? And you know what? I'm glad I don't have a Southern accent naturally. I'm glad it comes and goes. I'm glad I sound like a normal human being. I'm glad I don't sound like a Southerner. I'm glad I probably never will. I'm glad I can speak English well. I don't take pride in not speaking good English. Just the Confederacy is another one of those things that just needs to go. That's just stupid. That's just pointless. You know, and I wouldn't say we should ban Confederate memorabilia outright like we're doing now. No, that's a bad move in statecraft. Because the fact is, most flaggers don't represent a genuine threat to the Union. They don't. But if you start tearing down their shit, they might start and if you just keep giving, ammunition and giving press to these radical guys who may be a threat to the Union given proper resources, you will create a second American Civil War. That's what this will look like, okay? And it's going to be awful. Now, the American Civil War was a destruction in terms of loss of life, okay? We did lose a lot of, cities, but it wasn't as destructive as a modern war will be, okay? Do you want America to look like Iraq? No. Nobody in their right mind wants this country to have war on its soil, okay? It's a stupid idea. Every country that's had a civil war except us pretty much got ruined by it. Well, there's lots of countries that have survived civil wars, but at the same time, they're awful events. They destroy resources. They destroy structures, lives, people. It's going to be awful if we have another civil war. And I want every fiber of my being wants to prevent that. We have to stay together. We have to work out our differences, in a peaceful way. Because if we have this war, so many people now will take advantage of it. If the Union splits, so many people are going to take advantage of it now. Like, other powers back in the 19th century may have been less hesitant, but there are guys now who will not be hesitant. They will not hesitate. They will move for the kill. And it's going to be awful. And I fear for my children. I fear for the future of this country because of the direction we're going. And yes, I do believe that traditional conservatism, that even, yes, Catholic monarchy can and will preserve the American way of life. I believe that. You can still have all the rights that Americans enjoy. You can still have those rights, under a monarchy. There's no reason you can't. They may be safer under a monarchy because then they are never subject to a popular vote. It's really awful, this whole situation. And the thing is with TradCon, I'm speaking to everybody who genuinely believes what I believe, or, most of what I believe. If you want this to succeed, we have to jettison people like this. Neo-Confederates, Nazis, fascists, we have to jettison them. We have to get rid of them. They're going to drag us down. They're going to keep us in the dark. They're going to keep us from succeeding with their stupid, brainless antics and mouthing off all the time and constantly causing trouble for us. They will create problems. We have to get rid of them. We must get rid of them. We must not tolerate them. Those of them that we know and we can speak to, we must try to convince them of the error of their ways. They won't be convinced. We have to scrape them off. We must get rid of them. Because if we just let them... Because if these guys get control again, every vestige of our history, even stuff like this, will probably be illegal. Because they're probably going to use stuff like this. They will destroy what's left of our religion. They'll destroy what's left of our culture. If we were on a sickbed before, we're dying on our sickbed now. We are wounded and dying, and we are in desperate need of help. We're in desperate need of near divine action to save us from this future. And, if these guys get a hold of some measure of power and do their crazy shit again, it will be the end of us. We will enter a dark age of human history that as of now is utterly unknown. That as of now is completely unfathomable to the average person because they don't dwell on these awful subjects. And that's really the point of this video. Dylan's Storm Roof we've seen is proof that these internet groups are not harmless. These ideas are not harmless. They are not just words on paper. They are things that motivate people to action. They are things that keep people in these mindsets and make them vulnerable to someone who ignores them. Imagine 10,000 people with the brutality and cruelty, you know, in their hearts and in their minds and in the hatred of Dylan Storm Roof under the leadership of someone who is competent and can lead them and can make use of them. Imagine that. It would be absolute destruction and chaos. We can't let this foment and divide us. Dylan Storm Roof has said the reason he did what he did was the same reason why the Black DC Sniper did what he did, to start race war, to start conflict, to be the shot heard around the world for race war. If we let America be torn apart by people like Dylan Storm Roof, we let them win. We let them win. We do what they want us to do. All they want is war between the races. They want conflict. They want destruction without end. If we fall to that, if we take those ideas and run with them, then we let them win. We give them exactly what they want, exactly what they need. We fulfill their dying wishes. And I don't know about you, but that is not what I want to be known for. I don't want to be known. I don't want to go down in history that Dylan Storm Roof was some great prophet of the white race that started a bloody race war that ended in the decimation of countless lives and the destruction of traditional culture. I don't want that. And really, Catholicism is fucked right now. We just had a pope that said that went totally against Christian tradition and said that you're not a Christian if you own a gun. That arms manufacturers can't call themselves Christian. We are on the verge of castrating what is left of militant Catholicism, at least those that are loyal to Rome. I mean, we are powerless. What we can do, though, is we can organize. We can fight these fringe elements that are threatening to hijack our movement that already have in some instances. We can fight them. We can break away from them. We can unify. You know, we can do these things. And we can truly become, the force that is needed in today's world to pull us back from the brink of chaos. Because we've done it once before. And even though we're gone now, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, we can do it again.